Hey, I hope you guys are doing well. It has been some time since I've been able to make a video, but I am back. And in this particular video, I'm going to be looking at gold, specifically the gold futures, GLD and GDX. We just kind of want to break down what we've been seeing over the past couple of months and where we can see the price of gold along with these two stocks as we move into the future. So it's going to be, again, pretty brief, but I just wanted to take some time to look at them because I do think that there's some really good potential with how we've seen the charts kind of play out here over the couple of months for some nice gains or returns in the future. So overall, here is the gold chart. This is dating all the way back here towards 2010. I just wanted to show this to begin with, that we have broken through those highs of 2010, and we've been trading up here for some time now and building some support, which I think is really important. Now, if we move this into a 6-month 4-hour time frame, this is where we're really getting into what I want to look at. And this is the chart here on gold that will then flow into GLD and GDX. So this is the price of gold per ounce on the gold futures. And you can see we had that really big move. This was all the way from about $1,800. When we broke through that, we saw this basically unstoppable move all the way up here almost to $2,100 on the gold futures, and then we quickly saw a sell-off. I wasn't too surprised or shocked when that happened. I think a lot of people kind of just hopped in to make some quick money here as gold was making this move, and we ended up bottoming down here in the upper 1880s. From there, we started to begin this channel, and ever since, we've kind of been narrowing down that channel. So we saw that bounce and then a rise up here towards about $2,025, which you can see that is right about where that support level was right before we broke off and had that really big move to the downside. Throughout that, we did have some other support and resistance levels that you can kind of see in here, but the big picture that we're looking at here on gold is that this is kind of like, dropping a bouncy ball, right? You see this big initial bounce, it bounces again, and then again, and now that we've consolidated, we're seeing the price squeeze and squeeze and squeeze. I want to see a nice break to the upside. So you can see we've bounced a couple times here, or we've held a couple times here, right around $1,925. You can see this dates back towards late August, mid to late August. And then more recently here in the early stages of September. Since then, we have bounced and pushed up here towards about the 1950 range. You can see we closed here on Friday around 1957. But again, we're just consolidating. What I really want to see here on gold is a break above the 1,965 to about $1,975 price point, and a move higher, a break and a strong move above roughly 1975, and then a test of 2,000. And even if we fail 2,000 initially, I think from that point, we will gather some more new buyers that will push us back up here towards about $2,025, and then we will move on from there to 2,100. Now, if we were to break down through this 1925 support, I would see us down here towards 1875, and if it really were to break down closer towards 1,800. But again, my view on this would be more bullish. We've seen this price consolidate for a period of time of about 2 months now, and I think that we're going to start to see new buyers along with this monetary policy that is just really pushing for inflation and a decline of the dollar. I think this is going to help push the price of gold higher. Now, a lot of people are going to want to get in on this price movement by trading GLD or GDX. So GLD is a gold-based ETF, and then GDX is the gold miners ETF. And again, this chart is going to be relatively the same. You can see that 1925 support is consistent with about a $180 support here on GLD. And then the level that we really want to see GLD poke through is going to be right in here around $185 per share. That's going to be equivalent to that 1975 price point on the gold futures. If we can see a push above that level, I would be looking more towards $187 per share here on GLD. And again, if we were to pull back down, I would not be too concerned because overall this pattern, if I can zoom it out, it's a little bit easier to see. You can see this pattern, it's consolidating down. And if we show signs that we are starting to push back higher, which you can see in this channel currently, we're to the upper part of it. If we can push through that upper part of this channel, I think it'll start to see more short sellers kind of fade out of the market and more people buying into gold. Now, with that being said, if we do start to move down lower, I would be a buyer down here at $180 a share for sure, because the risk reward to me would just be so great. My risk would be, okay, maybe somewhere down here in the low 179s or about $1 per share risk, with an upside potential at least to the top of this channel, which is about $185 per share. So that would be a $5 reward. So a 1 to 5, I think that is a pretty nice trade opportunity. Again, what I'm wanting to see if we get back up, or when we get back up to 185, is a push through and then testing, roughly 187 and then moving up higher, closer towards about $190 a share, I think is where we're going to see the next big spot of resistance. Yes, we have these tops in here, but I think we'll see pretty steady movement up towards about 190 before we might see people start to pull back down. Now, lastly, I want to focus on the GDX. Again, this is going to be the gold miners ETF, and I think that there is a lot of price to move here, or a lot of reward that could be had here on the GDX. But to be mindful that it also fluctuates a good bit more than the GLD. It's a little bit more volatile is what I'm really trying to get at. Now, what I do want to point out here on the long-term time frame is that here on the GDX, before we really scoot it out, is here on the weekly chart for the past 2 months, we have held above $39.80 on GDX, and that has been consistent. And you can see we kind of closed down pretty rough here last week, closing on the lows, and it does show signs that we could have a nice little movement back down towards that $40 price point, which would be about a 2% decline here on GDX. Again, I wouldn't be too worried. As you can see, we've consistently held above that $39.80 price point for the past 2 months. Now, if we do break down below it, I'd want to have a relatively tight stop because I don't necessarily think that there's going to be all that much strong support until we get down here towards about that $35.50 price point. But I think that could be a good buying opportunity depending on how gold is trading at that time. But again, big nice support here around $40 a share, and then we do have some relatively strong resistance up here at about $43.50 to $44 per share. But again, I want to back it out towards these price points that we were looking at here near that 2010, 2011, 2012 run. Right, that's going to be what's going to give us our future resistance levels. So here on GDX, the price point that I'm specifically looking at would be up here towards about $52 per share is what I am going to look at. And I'll go ahead and throw a line in there, a nice little target marker for where I want to see GDX go in the future. And you can see that was kind of like the last ditch. We saw this bounce off of roughly $40 a share, $41 a share back here in 2012, and then we saw this really strong surge up towards about $50 to $52 per share that acted as the strong support for the majority of 2011, and even if we look back here to 2008 and even the later stages of 2009, you can see that acted as a resistance. So I would like to see, it might be, throughout the end of this year and moving into next year before we see those levels. But to me, to move from about $40 per share up here towards about $50 to $52 per share, looking at about a 25% increase in your the price of the stock, I think that is a really good return, especially with the fundamentals that gold has behind it. So again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is just my personal view. Please leave yours in the comments. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say here on gold, with GLD, GDX, and any other gold stocks that you guys trade. Again, if you like this video, hit that like or even consider subscribing. So with that, guys, I will catch you in the next one.